thank everyone for coming. We're going to start the presentation portion of this evening, which is only about 10 minutes, while you're finishing up eating, so don't kill the meeting. You don't have to look and participate. I'm just going to talk and you can listen. But I want to thank you for coming tonight to our Academic and Technology Showcase. This started several years ago, and it came out of our strategic planning process. And we used to present the strategic plans, and then a couple times we brought some teachers to show some of the things in the strategic plans and added kids, and everyone said, this is great. Making it a celebration of all the things that we do all year long, because sometimes you lose sight of all the great things that happen in the classroom. So we usually eat and then have a bunch of presentations. But more and more people started coming to see it and started coming to present. So it was taking a long time, and sitting on these for 2.5 hours was kind of hard for some people, which it would be for me too. So this year we changed it up, and we're doing it much more like a showcase. And you can see as some of your kids came in and set up some things, it's all around this area. There'll be some stuff down in the STEAM Commons, which I'll show you in a minute, and up in the Cyber Cafe. But before we go through that, I'm going to have each principal come up and talk a little bit about some of the accomplishments and great things that they did this year at each of the schools for a couple minutes, so that we can celebrate all our successes as we go back. So we're going to start with the McDonald School, and Mrs. Boulay is going to get up and do it first now.
Thank you. So when we first started planning this, Dr. Oakley said to list 5 accomplishments from your school, and it was pretty hard because I have to say that we've had another amazing year at Roselle McDonald. So here are 5 of the things that we're going to highlight this evening. So the first is the reading challenges. So if any of you have students through Roselle McDonald and I believe Spring Street, you know that Mrs. Eno sends out seasonal reading challenges. And it helps promote some healthy competition between classrooms and also instill, hopefully, a love of learning. A love of reading. A couple of teachers voluntarily joined a pretty famous Patriot football players challenge online. Someone might have heard of him, named Malcolm Mitchell. And they also participated in his reading challenge, which also allowed us to get a very special visit from Malcolm Mitchell. And it was an inspirational morning. Every student left with a book written by Malcolm Mitchell. It was pretty cool to see a football player who is also an accomplished author. And inspirational discussion about how he went through school really not being able to know how to read, and how as he got older he realized the importance of it, and the children were mesmerized, as was the staff. We are doing our Pride program again this year, which is a character recognition program where teachers nominate students who exhibit different character traits throughout the year. So things like acceptance, generosity, fairness. This year we added a couple of new character traits of perseverance and creativity. We're actually having our Pride Assembly tomorrow morning. Zones of regulation. So that is a program that teaches children how to regulate your emotions. We've all been upset in the car, sitting in traffic, not knowing how to calm ourselves down. I did it this morning on the 24th. So it's teaching the children to recognize how they're feeling. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be angry. But how can you work with yourself to solve that? So our behavior specialist has been going into classrooms and doing some pretty developmentally appropriate games and fun activities to stress that importance. This is the first year that we've had a student council at Roselle McDonald. We had 2nd and 3rd graders apply and write essays of why they think they should be on school council. We were fortunate enough to get 44 2nd and 3rd graders with essays, and it was a very hard decision to pick. We couldn't pick them all. 18 students are on our school council, and their job is really to be the ambassador of our character program, as well as manage the box tops and do some community service programs. And last, a bunch of teachers joined me over the summer for a book study on the Daily Five. And the Daily Five is something you're going to see a lot of the teachers representing this evening. It's a management system that allows teachers to work in a structured program so they can work with small groups while the children are differentiated and working in small groups and different activities. And last, differentiated instruction. I think every school tonight will talk a little bit about this. And the presentations from Roselle McDonald tonight all exhibit some level of differentiation, whether it's interest, level, product, seating ability, or seating opportunities. So that's a great thing to see. And lastly, I just want to give a huge thank you to our school council, School Improvement Council this year. I know it's hard to schedule that once a month to come in and meet at a not always opportune time, but I really valued all of the time that you gave to us, and we have some great ideas for our next school year. So now I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Spencer.
Good evening. I would also like to start by thanking our school council because I don't believe it to the end, because oftentimes when I get to the end I may forget something. So thank you very much to the school council members. It's wonderful to join together every month and come up with some exciting new ideas that some we can put into place right away, some take some time to actually implement, and we had quite a few of those this year. Thank you very much. Also, just quickly, Happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all of our educators. Starting with the Spring Street School, this is the second year of Wildcat Pride there, and we increased the number of recognitions of students, which is wonderful, and there's nothing greater than seeing all of those little Wildcats come in their t-shirts, and receive their Pride Awards. Wildcat Pride has been happening at the Howard School now for 6 years, and they're like, Spring Street students are mini versions of the Howard students, and it's really a pleasure to watch them, how excited they get when they are recognized by their teachers and them at our monthly assemblies. Our preschool just completed the NIAC process, which renews their accreditation, and I would really like to thank the preschool staff because they worked all year on that accreditation, and we just had the representative come in last week, and we have so far glowing reports, so congratulations on that. That's a huge accomplishment for preschool. We started this year making some reading connections with the Roselle McDonald to try to bridge the gap between the schools. And thanks to Mrs. Enos, she has integrated some reading programs for the Summer Reading Challenge, and she included us in the Malcolm Mitchell visit, and the students got to meet him and to listen to his wonderful book, Magic Magician's Hat. So that is a very nice connection because we don't have a reading specialist at Spring Street, so we're sharing Mrs. Enos and her talents with our students. We extended our community connections this year in the preschool. There was a week-long celebration of parents. We took the word out to parents. If you'd like to share what you do for work with us or what you do in the community, we would love to learn from you. And the response was really overwhelming. We had to really plan it out, and it was very successful. And actually, you'll be seeing a presentation on that tonight. And the last one is the playground upgrade project, which we're still working on that. That's a school council initiative. We will be getting standing xylophone, which a local Eagle Scout is going to be putting in for us. He did the fundraising, and it's ready to go in the ground. It's very large, and it's going to be outside year-round, and we can't wait to get it. The spot's all picked out. We're also hoping to extend our play area to make a bigger space with some asphalt so that the children can bounce the ball out here, because right now it's all mulch and grass. So it's been a great year at the Spring Street School. Those are our highlights, but you will also see a few other presentations around. And the Howard School also had some school-wide reading challenges this year. Mrs. Richmond, our reading specialist, implemented 5 reading challenges starting in the summer with the summer required reading, where everyone in the school read the same book, A Wrinkle in Time, and the highlight of reading the book was we all went to the movies to see that movie when it came out, and I was very apprehensive about that field trip, thinking of taking almost 300 students to the movie theater, but it was wonderful. The students were great, the teachers, we all enjoyed it, and I can't wait for next year's book. Oh, I won't be here, but we're fine. Sorry about that. Differentiated instruction, I know Mrs. Boulay mentioned that. Our teachers have been working on that through their early release days each month and their professional development, and it's already being implemented more so than it was in the past. The teachers are learning from a shared reading that they've done, and I can see the evidence in the classrooms of what they've learned. They're putting it into practice, and it's also our professional development for next year. So we still have more work to do, but definitely the differentiation and teaching to each student's individual strengths has increased at the Howard School. One thing that I've noticed this year is a huge accomplishment. We have had far less office referrals for behavior, and I think that is an accomplishment for any school, and I attribute that to the work that the teachers have done over the last few years with learning about social emotional behavior and what makes children tick, what makes them anxious in school, and they're really trying, the teachers are really trying to understand why the behaviors are happening, and I have found this year that there are very few behavioral incidents that where the children get sent to the office. So that is, that's a real accomplishment. The teachers are empowered and they have the knowledge now to move forward with taking care of that. And no student really wants to be sent to the office, and we can keep that down in the teacher's handbook in the classroom. It's wonderful, brand new school. And quickly, Nature's Classroom, this was our 19th successful year, so that's an accomplishment. Next year, 20 years, so I know Mrs. Wenzel is excited about the 20-year mark. And each year, when they go, Mrs. Wenzel sends texts to people who submit their phone number, and it's a system, and if you have a 6th grade child, you know, Remind 101, and she gives us updates, daily updates, and all of the updates were positive. There was not one text from Mrs. Wenzel that reported any type of issue at Nature's Classroom, which might be a first for a group of students. So the week was very successful. The weather was chilly in the beginning, and then got warmer, and I know that the kids loved it. So they just got back a few weeks ago, and that's kind of a highlight for the ending of our year for the 6th graders. And that is it for Spring Street School and Howard and Mr. Bottom.
Good evening. I certainly love hearing that the 6th graders is an awesome group. See, they'll be coming here next year, so that's always a very positive thing to hear. I want to thank our school council. Once again, another great group of parents and teachers. Great discussions throughout the year. I also want to thank the students who are here tonight in the middle senior high school, especially our older kids who are in the midst of AP testing. Some of them getting ready for graduation. So it's a lot going on. Some just came back from a softball game where they beat Cardinal Spelman. So big rivalry game for us, and nice job. A lot of great things going on at the middle senior high school again this year. The NEAS Collaborative Conference actually started about a year ago. We got approached as part of our decennial accreditation process that they'd be coming out. They've changed their format. And last spring, they let us know that we would be the first school in New England going through this new process. So we said, awesome, great, where's the bar? And we challenged ourselves to set that bar very high. And it was a lot of hard work by our teachers. Then we submitted a self-reflection report in March, and it came in April for 2 days. We had 3 staff members the visiting committee, plus the entire ES office from Burlington came to observe the whole process. So it was very beneficial for us. We learned a lot about our school. They met with students, parents, teachers, they visited classrooms, and we got an initial copy of the report back, and it was very complimentary, and that's a huge credit to all of our kids and staff in the building. So we're looking forward to sharing that with the public in June, because it certainly was a lot of work throughout this year. Community involvement in school culture, we've made really strong efforts to involve ourselves with the senior center. We have Mrs. Page has done a wonderful job organizing a senior prom, and the staff over there, the kids love it, and our kids love going to be part of it. We've had a technology day. We've brought over middle school students to have lunch with the seniors. They come over here for pickleball. Which if you don't know, every Monday they're out here from 10:30 to 11:30 out on the tennis courts, and our kids are starting to get involved as well. And they're out on the track with the walking club. We've also done things with our cafeteria staff through our advisory program, where we have acknowledged them. We pulled them all down as kind of a surprise with the entire school in the gym as an assembly, and we called in the cafeteria staff and Sherry, our aide custodian, and all the kids from the different power blocks recognized them for all of their efforts, and it was awesome. It was awesome to see, because the kids truly love what they do with them. Technology integration, we're in our third year of being one-to-one with the Chromebooks. Every year, the teachers get better and better trying new things. It's amazing to see what they're doing in the classroom, how they're engaging kids. We have Tech Tuesdays, which our media specialist runs. Staff sign up to come in the afternoon on Tuesdays. They learn some new innovative ideas, and then the next day, teams are implementing into their classroom. Our television studio, you'll get to visit that this evening. It's state-of-the-art, and what's awesome about it is they're running the morning news every day, and it's completely kid-run. Mr. Craig is in there, does a wonderful job of organizing, but the students are behind, the desk. They're running the teleprompter, they're running the sound and the cameras. And you'll get to see it, you'll get to try to read off those teleprompters, which, believe me, please try it, it's not easy. We have had to do it, it's a lot of fun. The kids have done PSAs down there. We had a group of students who were just on Channel 25 News with texting and driving PSAs. We have a very active video club. So a lot of students are involved in our television production class. And differentiated instruction, all the other principals have talked about it. It's our professional development for this year, it'll carry on to next year, and we're looking to meet the needs of all of our students, and the staff have really jumped on board. So we're very proud of what's going on here at the Middle Senior High School, and I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. So we're really excited about all the good things that go on every year in West Bridgewater Public Schools. I'm very lucky. This is my 13th year as superintendent of schools in West Bridgewater, and I've been here for a long time before that. As I look around, yes, there are some parents here that I had as students, so when the grandkids start coming, that's when it's time for me to go. But I couldn't be happier being a superintendent of schools here. We have such a great system, and one of the things we don't rest on our laurels. We always try to get better. We always try to improve. And part of that is having an evening like this that helps us look at what we've done. Because you do a bunch of little things, sometimes you forget about it. You need to get together and celebrate the successes, and then look ahead and say, okay, now what can we do next year? And that's what our strategic planning and our school improvement process is. And I appreciate all the parents and teachers that are on the school improvement councils for that. I also want to thank the school committee. The school committee members are here tonight, because they are the ones that really set the goals for the overarching strategic plan, and then we move from there, and it trickles down into the buildings. And as Mr. Holden always says, it's an unpaid position, but so they spend a lot of time making sure that the policies and the budget is intact so that we can do the best possible for the kids of West Bridgewater. So The next part of the evening is looking at all the innovative things, some of the exciting things that have happened in the classroom, presented by teachers and students, so that you can get a taste of what's going on. One of the best things about this is, and I hope you go to all of it, because it's really neat for elementary parents and to see what's going on in the high school. It's really neat for high school folks to see what's going on in the preschool and in the elementary schools, and oftentimes high school people say, wow, I can't believe all that stuff happens now in first grade. So try to get to everything. The way we set it up is, it's up here, but it's also better because it's on a bunch of slides up there, but everyone has this at your table, and there are tables set up, and the tables start, number one is down there near the door that comes in, so if you look, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6, 7, then the tables continue down into that lobby. The cyber cafe will have the, I believe it's forensics up there, and then in the tower, which is to the right of the cyber cafe, has the senior projects and the National History Day. And then, once you get down to the end there, you take a right, the TV studio is there, and that hall goes down to the Steam Commons. And there's the art gallery and the robotics lab, and they're doing some things down there. So I hope that you'll try to get to everything, because the people, the teachers, the kids, they put a lot of effort and time into this, and I think you'll really be impressed. So what we'll do is get up from here, I'll let all the people go to their stations, and then just go, and you can go in any order you want. I think it probably, might take, say, an hour to get through all the different things, and, take your time. And then Mr. Bodwell at some time will come up, we'll make an announcement that, okay, we have 10 minutes left, and then we can wrap it up from there, just so people know how much time there is. But the other thing I wanted to say is, I just want a reminder that on June 4th, in the middle senior high school, I believe in the auditorium, we have our annual town meeting, and during the annual town meeting, we vote on all the town's budgets, including the school, but also this year there is an article for school resource officers. So if you want to find out more about us potentially getting a school resource officer, please think about coming to the town meeting on Monday evening, June 4th. So, here we go. Enjoy.
This is third grade flexible seating at the Rose McDonald School. I have some of my students here with me who have been using flexible seating all year. So our classroom has no traditional desks except for 2. Everything else is considered flexible seating. So we have couches, we have yoga balls, we have some standing desks and standing tables, some kneeling desks, benches, small spaces that they can sit in and get comfortable in, so lots of choices during the day. We started flexible seating mainly because a lot of the experts are saying that it's better for children during the day, especially those who have a hard time sitting still. So I started to incorporate it 2 years ago as a pilot. The first half of the year, the students sat at traditional desks. The second half of the year, after Christmas break, they came back and the flexible seating was in place. The data that I had collected before Christmas break and the data after showed that every single student in 2 classrooms, their test scores went up at least 10 points or more after the flexible seating was in place. I also found that trips to the pencil sharpener, the bubbler, trips to get a tissue went from about 48 per day to about 2 to 5 a week. So it was a big difference of kids having to get up and needing that movement. With flexible seating, they don't need to move as often.
So the third grade students I have with me are Nathan Trott and Kyle Craving, and we are presenting on Genius Hour. And Genius Hour is part of differentiated instruction, as Dr. Oakley said earlier. It's inquiry-based learning, and the kids get to choose whatever they are passionate about, and they can research, and they make projects. They made a slideshow presentation, and they share it with their classmates and their families and friends. You guys want to say anything?
Not really, no.
So Nate was interested in black holes, and Kyle made a sensory robot, which I'm going to ask if we can keep afterwards to use in the classroom. So, anything you want to say about your project?
Not really. It was fun to make.
Why?
I don't know, because there's so many materials to put on it.
Yeah, and it's going to help someone, right?
This is the preschool, integrated preschool at Spring Street School, and we had parent visitors come in and explain their jobs to all the children. We had a beekeeper, we had a MIT police officer, a state trooper, a florist, a dog trainer, Miss Nanette from the library, a nurse, and Farmer Pete from C&C Reading Farms, and they each came in and talked a little bit about their job and answered questions. The children learned a lot about bees and about the farm and many different things, and it was a great way to connect the community with the children.
So our tables are the foreign language tables. We have 5 Spanish projects and 1 French project, and we have a whole bunch of different programs up to demonstrate the variety of the programs that we use during class. A lot of them allow for us to speak and do other things. For example, Adobe Spark down the end, we can speak and we also write what we're saying, so that way there it forms almost like a video type presentation. Whereas VoiceThread makes it so that our teacher can ask us questions and then we orally respond to them using our listening skills and our speaking skills, but because we can't see the question or anything, it gives us the opportunity to formulate our own opinions. And this one is Pixton, and it's a comic strip software, so we used it when we were reading a story in Spanish, and it was a philosophy story, so it had an open ending. So what we used it for was to create our own ending to the story, and it really gave us quite a bit of creative freedom because no 2 endings were the same, so every student could do what they wanted, and it really gave us that nice little bit of creativity that we don't often get with other projects. I really like the variety of programs we have and we use. I think that it really enriches our learning and adds some nice variety.
So we are presenting first grade author studies, and every month first grade and Mrs. Poliafico's class focuses on one author, and we get into the author's style, the writing style, the illustration style, and we spend the whole month on that author, and the kids get to use QR codes to listen to reading by that author, and they get to do crafts, and what we're finding is that the kids are going home and wanting to go to the public library to borrow books by these authors. And Jackson, what's your favorite author?
Dr. Seuss.
And Julia, what's your favorite author?
Eric Carle.
And Julia, what did you learn about Eric Carle's illustration style?
That he puts tissue paper on a piece of paper, then he puts water over it, and he lifts the tissue paper up, and the colors on the paper.
Nice. And what did you learn about Kevin Hanks as an author?
He has a lesson on every book.
Yeah, there's a theme on every book, and there's a lesson to be learned on every story. And what about all of his characters? What did you notice? What are they all?
Mice.
They're all mice. So those are first grade author studies.
All right, we are here presenting our visit from Malcolm Mitchell, New England Patriots player, but accomplished children's author who visited the McDonald School to see K through 3 students and sharing his children's book with us. We raised over $5,100 from family contributions and local businesses to purchase 344 books for all of our students to walk away and go home with. We had a wonderful presentation by Malcolm Mitchell, who came and talked to the kids about the importance of reading and the enjoyment of reading and never giving up on something when it may be difficult to you at first. How would you say he was during the presentation?
When he walked up there and the kids were listening, it was so silent that you could hear a pin drop, and whenever he was reading, we turned the page with him, and it just made this weird whoosh sound that it was really loud.
We hope to get him to come back on another school visit when he writes his next book, as he is contracted to write 2 more books with Scholastic. So hopefully we'll put our application in early again and get him to visit us as a follow-up.
Hi everyone, I am Sarah O'Donnell and I am the technology teacher for K through 6. I'm here with 2 of my 4th grade students, Molly and Natalia, and we are doing spheros, which are little robots. These are what they look like, they're little balls. We got a grant through PPG and also through the Howard Trust to help purchase these. And what you do is you code them using an app, and you can code them using block coding. You can also use them to draw a shape, and it'll trace your path on there. And then you can also eventually go into Java coding and text coding with them. So they're pretty cool. We've only had them for about 3 weeks, but we're still learning with them and having a good time with them. They're a lot of fun.
We are presenting our Pride writing that goes with the Pride themes in the program that we do at the Howard School. Each month, the students in 4th grade write a different type of writing assignment that goes with the theme of the month. So my students have some samples.
Perseverance is getting on the A team for soccer. Perseverance is working hard in school to get good grades. Perseverance is winning something you really want. Perseverance is getting both foul shots in. This is a word poem. Respect everyone. Each person is different. Say nice words. Pledge to the flag. Each person should be treated the same. Care for the things you have. Treat everyone the way you would like to be treated. What is appreciation? Appreciation is when someone helps you. Appreciation is saying please and thank you to someone. Appreciation is when you get a present and you play with it every day. Appreciation is making a card for someone who does things for you. This is a Diamante poem. Honesty, trustworthy, impeccable, caring, honoring, depending, truth, respect, credit, kindness, relying, believing, trusting, kind, believable, trustworthy.
Okay, tonight we're presenting the Daily 5, and the Daily 5 is a structure for language arts time in the classroom. What the kids virtually do is they choose their books. Everyone has a book box where they can store their own books, choose them throughout the year. That's our anchor. Then we start to challenge them with reading stamina times. We start off with 3 minutes and move it up to as high as we feel it should go. I usually do 10 minutes of quiet reading time. So we challenge them with different contests during the year. And after that, we slowly introduce the various areas of the Daily 5, which is work on writing, which the kids will take their spelling words and form different pictures, decorations. That's one of the areas. Another area would be read to someone, which is they can choose a reading partner and very quietly, elbow to elbow, knee to knee, they'll read with someone in the room. They also have time to work on their writing skills independently. So we have little journals that the kids would use for that. In the meantime, what the teacher is allowed to do is they can meet individually with the students in small groups and really focus on those that have a struggle with reading. So it really works out well. It's the first year that we're implementing it, and it's been very successful. I think what the kids really get out of it is a love of reading. It's a love of reading independently.
So what we have here is my math centers that I run in my classroom, and my acronym is MATH, where M is my math facts, A is alone zone, T is teacher time with me, and H is hands-on games. So what the kids do is they get different groups each week, and they rotate through the centers, 15-minute centers, and they do a lot of games and activities with me that they love to do. I love doing it this way I get to see what each kid can do, where I'm working with groups of 5, 6, or 7 at a time, and I'm able to see what each kid has and knows and needs work on.
So the 6th graders went to the kindergarten to help them learn the forces of motion. So they built a structure around a pig to stand. The structure was supposed to be strong to protect the pig from the big bad wolf, which was a hairdryer, and they tried to keep the structure standing. And they built the structures again tonight.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Pope. I teach the biotechnology class, so here today we're showing a mock crime scene. So we have Bernadette over there, who unfortunately is deceased, and we have little stations where the students are showing everybody some of the techniques we use, like identifying fingerprints, lifting latent fingerprints, looking at hair and fibers from the crime scene, and blood spatter. And I have wonderful students here that are helping out.
I'm not presenting much, but the seniors are presenting their senior projects. We have Hannah over here that you're going to scan through momentarily, presenting on organizing and putting on a extremely successful powder puff event that's going to give her a lot, that gave her a lot of insights into the world of organizing and leadership and getting people to do and motivate to do great things. Elizabeth Herman over there is going to present her thing on inequality in American schools. She did an amazing job with that. She's going to study at Lee and Washington University Law, and these types of issues that are near and dear to her heart. Public service is what her passion is. So she did an amazing senior project paper that she can talk about. A little further over, Kelly Rolfe did her dream little home. Her way of organizing her life and seeing the great North American continent by being able to pull her home from state to state and place to place. Haley Ellis and Faith Winchell also did an amazing senior project. Earlier in the year, they put on a healthcare clinic. It was kind of a fair where they invited community people into the school, and the public and students were able to go from desk to desk to find out about different services that are out there. And last but not least, that's it. That's it on the senior projects. On the other end, Mr. D was kind enough to get 4 or 5 National History Day projects that one at this level went on to the regionals, some of them to the states, and all the way to the end, the Salem witch trials. Those girls, Sophia Nelson, Natalie Fredrickson, will be going all the way to Washington, D.C. in 2.5, 3 weeks to compete in the Nationals. I love this event. It makes it fun in that we're not just listening to people. People can go and interact and see the various events and all the amazing academic things that kids are doing here at this school.
So for my senior project, I did a powder puff, so grades 9 through 12. Each grade had their own team, and we ended up raising over $3,000 for the Senior Scholarship Fund. As a senior, I didn't really know what I wanted to study or what I wanted to do, so I thought that organizing a powder puff would give me the opportunity to kind of try all different fields within business, management, along with other fields, and this way it gave me an insight into what my future could look like, what I like and what I don't like.
So I'm presenting my senior project, which was on race and education in the United States. I looked at the fact that though de jure segregation ended with Brown v. Board in the 50s, there's a huge amount of de facto segregation that continues on today. Given the fact that 67% of areas of concentrated poverty are inhabited by Black and Latinos, there's a huge disparity in the quality of education that minority students receive, which plays a huge role in the quality of education throughout elementary school, high school, and college that they receive, especially in terms of their ability to do well on standardized testing, because standardized testing is seen as a mechanism of meritocracy to ensure fairness in terms of access to institutions of higher education. But when you look at flagship institutions like UMass Amherst, UConn, UNH, URI, they have populations that are 63% white and only 5% African American, which is not at all a reflection of the actual demographics of America. So I analyzed that and how that is extremely important and a huge detriment to the advancement of minorities in America and the
information about how to deal with mental illnesses. And it was good.
So for the parents, we're just presenting just a bunch of pictures from the event. It was overall a really big success. Came out a lot better than I think either of us really was expecting.
All right, so we did our project on the Salem witch trials, and we went to Salem, and it was really cool because we got to see like how like they lived their lives, and there was a lot of historic buildings that were still there and monuments that were there, and it really helped us with our project. And
we split our board up into sections. We didn't really want to talk about the trials themselves, like really what like made the trials. So we have theories, statistics, figures, laws, timelines, and a map.
And in the map, I don't know if you can see it, but on the map, it's the accusers and the accused were on two separate sides of the town. So it was more like a political issue than like actual witchcraft, obviously. But and there was also like theories about like a fungus growing in the wheat that could have caused the witchcraft. It's not proven, like it's not like a true fact, it's just a theory, but it's the one that we found like most, like it could be very possible. Yeah, and like obviously the girls that accused the people could just have been bored, so there's always that.
Well, we're going to DC for the national competition, and the theme is conflict and compromise, and we chose this because it's close to home and it didn't